Our energy audit revealed that the windows were original equipment and had seen their better days. Sadly, aluminum framed single pane windows are extremely inefficient. Remember the law of nature? Heat moves to cold on Earth. The very nature of single pane glass and aluminum frames make these items good conductors for heat transfer. So heat will move very quickly through a single pane of glass and aluminum framework. Add a home interior with high humidity levels and you have a window that will condense moisture on the inside, which will run down and get onto the window sills. Think of a soda can and how quickly it will cool off when you place it into a cooler full of ice, then how quickly it will warm up when removed from the cooler. An aluminum window acts in that same manner. So, our solution for the makeover house is replacement windows from Harry G. Barr from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Their Weatherbar windows are double-paned, low-emissivity glass contained in a vinyl frame. In between the window panes are argon gas. Combine all these features together and we have an exceptional energy-efficient window.
Well, Mark, we have a wonderful Weatherbar replacement window here in our hands, and one of the things that we educate our members about is this label on the window pane, the National Fenestration Rating Council, and you know, we see this as a good resource for people looking for replacement windows because there's a lot of information, and we know that when windows have this, that they're a credible window and they are what they say they are. So if you would, tell us about the sticker and why that's important to Weatherbar windows, and then we'll start addressing some of these values on here as
okay. Well, you're right, Brett. The sticker it's the consumer's guarantee or assurance that the window will perform as advertised. We're part of this organization that when we test our windows, they certify our test results. They say, yes, this is how the window will actually perform, along with another laboratory that also goes over the results to make sure everything is accurate. But we cannot label a window unless we're a member of this organization. And they come into our plant and inspect our plant a couple times a year to make sure we're building things as we say we build them. And it is. It's essentially a stamp of approval or a stamp of authenticity that this window is what we say it is.
Well, that's very good, because we know that there's several brand name windows out there, but they all make inefficient windows as well. And so we refer to people that are looking for those good replacement windows to look for this label, but also some values that we're going to talk about right now. And one is the U factor. And tell us a little bit about the U factor of this window and what makes a good U factor for replacement windows.
Okay, well, the U factor in essence is how well that window insulates. You know, how well does it keep the cold out in the wintertime and the heat out in the summertime. And it is the lower your U factor, the less heat it transmits. So the lower the factor, the better the window is. And this window has a value of 0.30, and you know, it's a combination of the glass and the frame and the components that we use into what determines what that U factor is. We could build this window and use a different type of glass and get a U factor of maybe 0.4 or 0.41. So we use the best glass we can get, which gets our U value down to that 0.3 range, which is a very good, very well insulated window.
So for guesstimation, we have a 0.30 here, but the windows behind me that Scott's working on would probably be a 0.8 maybe, or
0.7, 0.8, somewhere around there. A single paned aluminum window.
Yeah.
There's nothing about those windows that is efficient.
So the higher the number, the more inefficient. The lower the U factor, the more efficient and better at insulating window we have.
That's right.
So we're going to move on to the solar heat gain coefficient, which we have a lot of that going on right now, as a matter of fact. So let's talk about that.
That's right. Solar heat gain coefficient is kind of what it says. It's a ratio of how much of the sun's heat this window is letting through into the house. And so the lower the number, the less heat it's being transmitted. And that's where this low E glass really shines. You know, obviously the frame itself is not going to let heat through because it's insulated. But the glass that you can see through has to reflect that heat. And this glass we're using is a triple silver low E glass, which means there's 3 layers of silver put on this pane of glass, which is what does the reflecting. That's what keeps that heat to the outside.
Very good. I know oftentimes when I'm asked by our members what type of glass they should have, or the low E or the solar heat gain, and I tell them the low number because in Arkansas we're trying to keep the heat out because we do a lot of air conditioning. But if we lived up north where we're constantly heating the house, we want a lot of the sun coming in and assisting our heating system. So in the south, we want a low number.
Right.
And there's another value or number here, the visible transmittance. What does that mean?
The visible transmittance is measuring how much of the sun's light gets in that we actually want. And there's a spectrum in the solar radiation that is good. It's what makes our rooms bright. And sometimes in trying to keep out as much heat as you can, people will go with a very dark glass, which may keep out some heat, but it's also going to darken your room. It's going to make you turn on your lights more to get the light in your room that you need to function during the day. And so you want to look for a number, a solar heat gain number that's low, and a visible light transmittance number that's as high as possible. And 0.52 is very good for a good insulated window.
Very good. Well, Mark, thank you again for being a sponsor of the Makeover and for sharing this valuable information. And continue to follow our Makeover on Facebook and our website.